to Gilbert's Repairs. Today I'm going to have a look at an oil leak on my son's 2006 Ford Ka. Let's see how it progresses. Remember, if you like the video, to like it, to subscribe and to share it. Let's get on with it. Hello and welcome back to another edition. Edition? Why did I say edition? Okay, I'm here under the son's car, the Ford Ka, and I've noticed there's an oil leak up on the block. So just going to investigate that. I may be able to do a video about that, tracing it and how to locate and clean down and monitor an oil leak on an engine. So we'll get to that now. Okay, so the sump is all dry there, as you can see there. And I was doing the thermostat up there in a previous video. Look up there, while I was under here, I did notice this back of this block is quite wet with oil. Now, I initially thought that was the power steering pump there, but it's not, it's a water pump. So he's not the one leaking. So we've got a decent amount of oil there, but it does go right up to the top. So I'm guessing it has to be the highest point because it's the oil's run down. But what I'll do is give it all a clean down with some brake cleaner. All a wash down with some brake cleaner, and then we can monitor it over the next week or so and see what comes back wet. So I'll get back to you in a week or so. Okay, it's a week later and I did spray down the back of the block with brake cleaner, and that has stayed dry on the lower half of the block, so there is dry now, so there's no oil leak there. So it looks like it's indicating it's up the top of the engine, right up the top there. So I'll take you around to the top and we'll have an examine around the top end of the engine. Okay, we're back around the top now, and here's the rocker cover. This is the one I suspect. So we'll have a little look around. Oh yeah, so he's damp along that edge there, along there. I'll feed you in. Yes, it's wet along there, you can see it. Oh, and definitely out along the edge there. So he's leaking on that corner, running down the block. And that's that water pump that we could see underneath, but that's all dry. So it's wet up the top corner of the rocker cover. So we're looking at a new rocker cover gasket. That's quite a basic job to do. We'll do that a bit later on in the video then. I'll order the parts. Okay, we're back on the job. I've got the part I need, the rocker cover gasket. Let's get on and fit it. Okay, looking at the job close up, you've got an electrical plug there for the camshaft sensor, and then there's the securing bolts there that hold the rocker cover down, and the same along the back there. They're quite basic. It looks like got to take off the block there, the coil, a couple of them, and a few breather pipes. I'll just pull off. Yeah, they pull off. Look, they pull off. So quite a basic job. I'll start off first with some of the straggly bits. Sensor there, electrical plug to disconnect. There's a breather pipe there. Just pull that one to disconnect that. Another breather there. Pull that to disconnect. So they're out of the way. I'll turn in. Then I think I get a Torx bit and we'll undo the coil to disconnect that from the rocker cover. So he's free from there now. think I'm going to get the airbox off here. Just pull him off like that to give us better access. Now I can get to all the securing bolts around the rocker cover. He's actually free from everything now. So I'll start disconnecting that. So we just undo each one in turn. No real sequence with this, we'll just crack them all off. It looks like someone's already clamped this down in the past. These are very tight. Yeah, I think someone's already pulled this one down to try and stop the leak. We just undo all the way around. Spinning these off, got my little magnet look to get the bolt out. Okay, so all the securing bolts are now removed from all the way around. I think we've disconnected all the pipes that are around this cover. I think that's it. We may find something else. So now we want to break the seal on the gasket itself. So we don't want to be hitting this plastic rocker cover with a hammer. Use the rubber handle or a piece of wood and just gently tap it off with a piece of wood. Something that's not going to damage the box. There he goes. You heard him move. There you go. So he's cracked. So there it is. So now we can try and feed him out of there. There he comes. So there. Be gentle for nothing, the dirt to go in. So there is our rocker cover. Alright, so there's the rocker cover. That's our offending object. And there's the underside of it. And this is the seal that we're interested in. And he does feel compressed and he's not got a lot of flexibility. So that's the offending item. There's the new part. If you're doing this on a Ford KA, this is a 1.3, but you could be doing it on any car. But this is a 2006 1.3 KA. That's the gasket you're going to require. You could be doing this on any car. So here's what you expect to see when you take the rocker cover off. And oh, there we go. There you can see it's dry around where the gasket goes. That's very, very dry. But when you come around here, it's still dry. But when you come down the back, you can see where the oil has been seeping through. So this is what we saw running down the back of the block there. Running down here it was. So you can see there it's wet, and around this way it's dry. So that's our offending item by the look of it. Right, we're now going to swap over the old gasket. So we'll just pull this out. Maybe have to get a little terminal screwdriver or something just to hook it out, a little pick. And they go around there. So we just peel this back. And now we're going to compare our new gasket to our old one. And they look identical, two holes there, and then just standard all the way around. So that appears to be correct. This one does feel very brittle, it's lost a lot of its flexibility. So all we're going to do now, to ensure a good joint, good contact surface when we put it back together, is we just got a bit of brake cleaner. So all we do is spray it down with brake cleaner and give it a good clean out. Got some kitchen roll here from the kitchen. Don't tell the missus, she won't be happy. She keeps asking me where the kitchen roll's gone. So we just give it a clean out with a brake cleaner. And we'll examine this while we're here. And you can see the dirt that comes out there. Give it a good clean up. I may just go and get my little terminal screwdriver. Have a bit of jiggery pokery around in there. And see if we can gouge out any bits of carbon that's in there. Give it a good clean out. And just give them a little scrape around in and around. Make sure we get all the little bits. So we'll allow that to air off a bit, and then I'll put in the new joint. Okay, this is the sort of standard of cleanliness that you're going to be looking for. So in order to get a good seal. So this is where the joint sits. And you need it clean like that. It needs to be clean and dry before you put your seal in. And that will ensure that you get a good seal and it will last a long time. Okay, so we're going to fit the seal now, the new gasket or joint or whatever you want to call it. And this particular one, the flat face goes onto the head there, and the side that goes into the rocker cover, it's got a lip on it all the way around. That's what you press into the rocker cover or the rocker box. So you press it around there and then press down in the middle all the way around, making sure that it's in the recess. I've examined this gasket first. Just because it's new doesn't mean it hasn't got any damage. So it had a thorough exam before I put it on. So what I'll do now, that's pressed in nicely. We'll go up onto the cylinder head and we'll give it a spray down with a little bit of brake cleaner and a degrease, and examine up there and make sure it's okay to refit. All right, so we're up top. All we're going to do, we've got to be very careful that anything we scrape off here doesn't go into the engine. So we'll just gently, we'll give it a clean up. And we'll work our way around. Getting rid of any bits of crust. I've just got my little terminal screwdriver again. My little one I use for jiggery pokery. And we just scrape it. Move on, wiping the debris away, out that way, not into the engine. So we don't want to do any long-term damage. Right, so it's all cleaned up now. The surface on the head is all cleaned up, ready for the new gasket. What I'd like to do, clean around the back where we saw that oil running down. So we need to clear that away down the back of the head so that we can monitor this oil leak again. So we make sure it's clear, so it's not an old oil leak. We're only checking for a new one after we've done this job. So we need to clean that down, just give it a wipe down. So I'll show you how clean it's got to be, and you've got to make sure. I've used a little terminal screwdriver to clean it up. You've got to make sure you don't dig the joint surface. So this sort of thing you're after. Clean and degreased. So that now is a nice clean dry surface all the way around. So that's what we're after. So we'll now refit the rocker cover. So it's just the reverse of removal. I've inspected the rocker cover, the plastic. There's no cracks or anything in it. It is actually in good order. It's just a joint. So we just put him back, ensuring that the joint doesn't fall out of its location in the rocker cover itself. Hey, welcome back. You took a dive. You fell off the tripod then. Let's get back on it. So we just make sure the rocker cover is not obstructed. Got an alignment there on the hose. I can see down the hose into the cylinder head. The joint seems to be in position. So now we just get our securing bolts. They were an 8mm socket head. They look like a 6mm thread, 6mm thread, looks like an 8mm head. So we get them and we'll put all them in, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I've got all the securing bolts just hand tight down. So now what we're going to do is go around in turn. We're going to go around, work our way round, and we'll give them just a light nip. And then after we'll go around and we'll secure them correctly around again. So initially just nip it down and then just a stronger nip. Okay, so I've been around once. They've all just been gently pulled down. You remember, this is not a cylinder head. There's no torque sequence or anything. We just go around. I'll do them up what I consider to be tight. There will be a torque figure somewhere. So if you'd like to find that, you can do it, torque it correctly. But I'll go by hand. So there we go, they're all tightened down with a firm nip now. And we start putting all the accessories back on, the breather pipes, the coil pack, and the electrical plugs, etc. So we'll do that now. Alright, so we just got to put it back together now. Find that electrical connector wherever that went. There he is. So there's the electrical connector for the cam sensor. Just plugs in. He's snapped in. And then all we've got here is a breather pipe for the top of the rocker. Presses on there and goes into that. There it goes. And then the other breather here. There's no Jubilee clips on here, no sort of fixings. And then just the ignition coil, and that's only two That's only 2 Torx bits. So these are just a light nip, nothing, you don't overdo these, you don't want to crack the plastic, you'll have problems there. So that's about it. We're about there. So we've got the electrical, couple of breathers, the coils, all those are pushed on nice for the spark plug leads, make sure they're all in. So I think we're there. I've been around again to check all the bolts. So that's it. That's the rocker gasket changed. Okay, so that's the rocker cover gasket replaced. I'm going to take it for a quick test drive now, make sure there's no leaks, obvious leaks on it, and then I'll put some miles on it and we'll recheck it after a week or so. Okay, I'm back again. We've been running around in the car for a week, so I'll take it off a stand now and we'll have a little flash around the engine, make sure that it's dry and no obvious leaks. Okay, so the final check. Along the edge there, it's dry, and right along, this is the front side of the rocker cover, it's dry all the way along, right along the joint surface. I'll try to get in and around the back where the actual leak was. Oh yes, we can see it there. So this was where the oil was running between that surface there. So it's bone dry there, all the way along. You can see there, that's where the oil was running. And that is all dry. So we can safely say that that was a successful repair. I will just go down underneath to show you if the back of the block is wet. But that looks like a very successful repair to me. We're back down underneath and it's dry. The back of the block is all dry, right up through to the top where that big nut is. That's where that big bolt is. That's where it was all soaking wet. So it's all now dry. So that's successful. So there we go, that's how to locate, diagnose and track. So there you have it. We fixed the leak on this old Ford KA, it lives to fight another day. So if you've enjoyed what you've watched, could you like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you next time.